Hey folks, this is Arcaden here with a guide on how to get the Day 1 achievement in Blueprints. This video is focused on getting that achievement to pop, but the first section here will also be a good summary of all the ways to get access to room 46. So if you want to know those variations, you'll find this helpful as well. The video will start with an overall guide, then I'll end with my Day 1 playthrough to show you how it came together in practice for me. So major spoilers coming up. Timestamps are below if you want to skip around. Getting the Day 1 achievement requires that you enter room 46 on the very first day of the game. This means on the first day you have to unlock the antechamber, get to both sides of the underground, and enter the sanctum to open the north antechamber door. It almost sounds simple. Doing this in one day requires that you have a strong base of knowledge on how the game works, all the variations that could potentially get you there, and also the ability to manage your currencies effectively. The way it works is you're going to have to adapt your strategy based on the random room and item spawn. Let's start with unlocking the antechamber first. There are 6 levers throughout the house you could use. The west door of the antechamber can be unlocked by the secret garden lever or the lever in the mechanarium behind one of the additional door spawns. The south door is unlocked by using the broken lever in the greenhouse, or you could craft and use the power hammer in the weight room. The east door is unlocked via the Great Hall, which requires you to be able to open a large amount of locked doors, or by using the power hammer in the secret garden and reversing the arrow placement. For a Day 1 run, I think the secret garden and greenhouse are your most likely bets, though depending on your roles, really any of these can work. The next thing you need to understand is how to access both sides of the underground in one run. The underground area is where Herbert's inner sanctum and the lever for room 46 is housed. To get to the lever, you need to solve a simple cog puzzle. However, the underground is essentially divided into 2 sides, one which I'll call the basement side and the other the fountain side. There are different entrances for each, and except for one situation which we'll talk about, you can't cross between them in the underground itself. To be able to solve the cog puzzle, you have to get to the fountain side and move a cart so you can access all aspects of the cog puzzle via the basement side. To get to the basement side, there's 2 options. First, you could go through the foundation in the estate. This requires that you spawn the foundation, which is possible on Day 1, just rare, that you lower the foundation lift by accessing the lever, which means you also need to spawn a room with a door behind that side of the foundation. You need to get the basement key from the antechamber and unlock the basement door. The other way to get to the basement side is you could use the secret basement entrance. To do this, you have to build the power hammer and open up the back entrance right by where the elevator comes. This bypasses the need for the foundation and potentially bypasses the need for the basement key, depending on how you get into the fountain side. Getting into the fountain side also has 2 ways. First, you go through the fountain entrance. To do this, you have to draft the pool room, then draft the pump room, drain the fountain in the pump room puzzle, get the basement key from the antechamber, and unlock the door at the bottom of the fountain. Alternatively, you could get to the side of the underground via the tomb in the outer room. Now, you don't start with access to the outer room, so you have to make that happen on Day 1. To do that, you have to spawn the utility closet to power up the garage, spawn the garage, open it, unlock the outer room, spawn the tomb, open the secret entrance in the tomb by solving the angel puzzle, and activate the death statue here to open up the secret entrance into that area of the underground. In my experience, the tomb never appeared in the first draft. So for this to work, you have to make sure you have a way to re-roll the outer room selection. And except for, I think, twice, it took 2 re-rolls to get the tomb to appear. That's what's most common. So you either need 2 dice, or if you spawn the study, you could use tomb gems. There is a way to make it so you could access both sides through the tomb. To do this, in addition to spawning the tomb, you also have to spawn the pool and then the pump room. In the pump room, you lower the water in the reservoir by 1 level. This allows you to use the boat in the underground. So you go in through the tomb entrance, you move the cart to get access to the puzzle, and then you use the boat to travel to the basement side. Now, in addition to knowing all the ways you could get into room 46, it's very helpful to also have a strong understanding of where items are likely to spawn. Items are key to making this achievement happen. Now, you get this knowledge mostly through experience. You could read on the internet, but at this point, I've played the game enough to know that the battery seems to like spawning in the attic and the workshop, that the secret garden key can appear in the billiard room relatively regularly, and stuff like that. Most of the items you'll find can be helpful in some way. Big exceptions on my end being the magnifying glass, gear wrench, or anything that helps you for future runs doesn't help at all. The items help, but so do their crafted combinations. As one example, combining the shovel and the metal detector in the workshop to make the shovel detector can be a huge help in getting keys and coins through dirt piles and in rooms. The power hammer, which is a combo of the battery, lever, and sledgehammer, can get you into the basement without having to spawn the foundation. It can also unlock 2 alternate antechamber levers, one in the weight room and one in the secret garden. But it's a big RNG factor. Getting those 3 items to spawn in one run is relatively rare. In addition to having all this knowledge and understanding, a key skill component to success in this is also understanding how to manage your currencies, your steps, gems, keys, and money. For steps, this means things like drafting the nursery early on so additional bedrooms will give you more steps, or drafting the kitchen and buying food. It means understanding where the food is likely to appear in the house, or knowing that once you draft the secret garden, fruit appears throughout the estate. You also want to use items like the sleep mask or running shoes. I lost one of these runs by like 5 steps, I think, so every little bit counts. As for gems, you need to know the rooms that spawn gems, especially in the early game, so you could build up a good base. You also should be able to unlock all of the safes and access those gems. They're a big help. Overall, you need to be thoughtful about when you decide to use a gem. Both gems and keys can get pretty tight very quickly, so you want to constantly be asking yourself, is this worth it right now? For keys, they're similar to gems. You need to know where you could get those in the early game, and make sure you spawn those rooms early. Locked doors start appearing on rank 4, so everything before that is open. Keys are an area where item like the shovel can really help getting you more of those. I also always tried to minimize the amount of keys I needed by increasing the amount of electronic locks in the estate through the security room as long as I could get through them. Which means you either need the key card, which can spawn in places like the billiard room, chests, bedrooms, other places, or you need to spawn the utility closet, kill the security power, then spawn the security room to unlock all electronic security doors. I got either one of these scenarios to appear in most of my runs, so this isn't the biggest stressor. Then finally you have money. You could actually get more money than you think in a day 1 run, and it can come in very handy in a pinch. It helps you buy steps in the kitchen, gems, or other important items in the commissary. You could also use the money in the locksmith room to buy a lockpick kit, or try rolling for the secret garden key and getting supremely irritated when you get the silver key again. If you watch my day 1 run, you'll see that coins are a big part of it. In general, in terms of managing all these currencies, the advice is to be thoughtful about it. Take your time to make decisions. Now, you don't have to go crazy here, and you'll get a sense of it over time, but stop a moment to ask, like, do I actually need to spawn that room? Do I have enough steps to make it there? Doing that will help avoid you getting into a variety of lost runs that maybe could have been something successful. Some other random advice. The laboratory can be really helpful. If the experiment factors fall your way, you could set up something that helps you get more steps or gives you an additional chance to find items or gems. As a contrast, the observatory is not helpful for a day 1 run. You just get 1 gold from it, and I think that's a waste of a gem. Generally, I find it helpful to spend time and steps to build the first 3 rows of the house before moving on to the rest of it all. By doing that, you'll have a base of items, gems, keys, and monies. You'll know where you stand and be able to assess what your best path forward is. So, now you got the knowledge, you got the skill, what else do you need? Tons of luck. Honestly, if you're comfortable with all of the mechanics I just mentioned, the only other skill you need is being able to recognize the opportunities as they appear. Otherwise, you're really just at the mercy of your rolls. This took me definitely over 50 attempts. I lost track, and it was one of those achievements that when I got it, my feeling was like, okay, rather than excitement. I ended up spacing this out and doing a couple of runs every morning over a long period of time and eventually knocked it out. Spacing it out like that was more enjoyable than pushing long days to get it. So I recommend a chill approach if you're going to hunt for this. Don't expect that you're going to get it soon. It really is about the rolls. Now that we've gone all over that, let me show you how I pulled this together in my day 1 run. I've sped up some of these sections here just to manage the length. So starting a day 1 run, I found it helpful to think that all of the paths to room 46 are open at the beginning, and they're all available to you. And so I start with them kind of sitting in my head. Then, as you roll rooms and get items, you're going to be eliminating those paths or changing the probability on some of them. For the beginning of day 1 runs, there was a few things I focused on. First, I'm building up my currencies using these early rooms: keys, gems, money, steps. I'm also looking to spawn both the utility closet and the garage so that the tomb is an option and I can manage security doors. Ideally, I also want to have 2 paths out of rank 3. This isn't necessary, but it's good to shoot for. Here I get 2 dice, which means that I could be confident that I could roll the tomb in the outer room area if I could get to it, so that pathway gets a little bit stronger in that moment. So you'll see I retrace my steps a bit because at this point I felt confident in managing that currency, and I really wanted to have a strong early foundation to build on. Now I get the utility closet, shut off the power to the security system, and power up the garage. Another push for the tomb. I buy the shovel here because it's a good way to get money and keys are one of the struggle currencies. Then I go on spawning the standard early rooms and building up currency. You'll see I'm a little casual about using keys for unlocking chests, and I'm not sure that I would recommend that. It worked out here, but you might want to wait to see if you could spawn a sledgehammer first. I make a decision here for more steps. And I get the garage spawn. So because I have the 2 dice, I now know I could get into the tomb, which means getting into the fountain side of the underground and moving the cart is taken care of. Now I need to get access to the other side of the underground, either by lowering the reservoir or using one of the 2 entrances to the basement side. And of course, I still need to unlock an antechamber door. Here the tomb spawns on my first re-roll, but honestly this was the first time that ever happened while doing this. It always took 2 rolls before, so I'd make sure that you have 2 dice or 2 gems that can re-roll. I don't actually go into the underground yet. I did that because the tomb spawns gold with dead ends. I don't need to move the cart yet, so I go back into the house, spawn a couple of rooms, and so when I get back here to go into the underground, I'll get some money. This moment here is my angry Kermit the Frog impression, when I realize that I wasted steps by going in the wrong way. Here you'll see I buy some gems, the commissary coming in handy. The chapel is not a bad spawn for the day 1 run. The 3 doors are nice. And if you get really lucky, you could actually find a couple of gold pieces in there. The drawing room, if you know how to open the safe, is essentially free. Now, you won't be able to tell, but I'm about to speed up the footage a ton, just because it sits here for a while. I don't know, I was doing a lot of texting people, maybe I was going to the bathroom. This was like way past 50 runs, and at this point I wasn't expecting this to happen, and I wasn't really caring about the amount of time it took to do it. So again, just to summarize, right now we still need a way to enter the antechamber, and then I either need to get the foundation area all up and running, or get the power hammer to make it into the basement side. So I'm just keeping on going. I spawned the security room so I could adjust the settings to high, so now there will be more open electronic doors than keys, hopefully. I generally find this a good idea, as long as you could bypass those doors. That's a nice spawn with the running shoes to help with steps and the die. I like the rumpus room on a day 1 run. Those coins, like I said, they help out. And here we go. With the greenhouse, I am now a bit closer to getting that antechamber open. Now I need a broken lever to make that happen. Of course, always draft the dining room. I got some more gems. Items like the Lucky Rabbit's Foot, I don't know what percentage chance they increase, but on a day one run, I'm happy to get it. It's anything that increases the broken lever or the battery spawn rate is really exciting to me. And by exciting, I mean a combination of resignation and fading hope. Here, I draft the Workshop, which has a broken lever. That's actually a relatively common spawn in that room. Now I know I could open the Antechamber door. I don't do that yet because there's other stuff to do. Once you turn the electricity off, the Gymnasium is also a nice spawn with its 3 doors. At this point, the Great Hall doesn't make sense. So here I re-roll and that nets me the Foundation. Now, I can't say this definitively, but I do have a hunch that re-rolling at a high rank might increase the chance of a Foundation spawn. It just happened like that a few times for me. Not sure about that, but I wanted to put it out there. So our path to 46 is getting much clearer. I now need to get into the Antechamber to spawn the basement key and lower the cart. Here I get a nice roll. I'm able to draft the observatory, which normally isn't great, but because of the way the doors are laid out, that gets me into the south door of the Antechamber, which matches the greenhouse lever. Getting the fish with the aquarium in the house gets me 30 steps, so feeling good about steps now. But I am low on gems, and that could break this run if, I still need to draft rooms. So I decide that this is the moment to go back to the tomb, and on the way I buy some gems, and I know there's more money in the tomb. The amount of gold I was able to make, plus the gems spawning in the commissary, was a big engine for this run. Definitely wouldn't have happened without it. Good chunk of money here. Next, I do the angel statue puzzle. This is one of those puzzles that I've just gotten so quick at because I've played the game a ridiculous amount, and I find it kind of disturbing. The other one is the vac puzzle. I could do that pretty quick too. Anyway, that opens this secret entrance. I activate the Reaper statue, and I'm in. I find that arrow very funny. All of that just so we could move this one cart. That's all. Now, I also get the upgrade disc. It's a long shot that it'll be helpful, but it doesn't actually cost any extra steps, so I do it anyway. So at this point in the run, as I'm heading back into the estate, I'm definitely thinking this could possibly be it. It's close, I just have a couple more things to go. So still some luck to be had, but feeling good. Despite the fact that you'll see me check the map like numerous times, I still go in the wrong direction when I get in here. You'll see there's another little Kermit frustrated gesture, I think, coming up here. Yeah, that's right. Ah! There it is. Okay. I use the money from the tomb here to buy more gems. Now, they don't always spawn in the commissary, but when they do, it's a huge help, and money becomes very valuable. Here I go for the upgrade, and, again, this is like a real long shot. But if you get it early in the run, and you could get the nursery, that gives you more steps, or, the boudoir, which is a word I've never said as much until I've played this game, but that has an upgrade with 2 dice, which is good. Here I use the broken lever in the greenhouse, and now I could get into the antechamber. So now there are 2 paths to unlocking room 46. I could spawn the pool room, the pump room, and lower the reservoir by 1 and use the boat to get to the other side. Or I could lower the lift in the foundation, and you'll see that's kind of what I'm shooting for here in this run. To lower the lift, I need to draft rooms with doors in a particular way that gets me to the back of the foundation. Since I'm comfortable with steps, I take some time filling out the other rooms of the house to see if I could get more ways to re-roll, so that I can make that path to the back of the foundation happen. Here, I'm hoping to either spawn the study or find more dice. Both the walk-in closet and the wine cellar are really helpful. You know, they spawn at higher ranks and they're dead ends, so that can be challenging to fit them if you're, tight on steps or space, but they could really make a difference. I've never found an item at the upper level of the observatory, but I'm like, I just really wanted this to happen at this point. I mean, how obnoxious to make you get all the way there and be like, oh, you gotta go backwards. You thought you were close. I mean, that's Herbert's voice in my head. So these here all work well. I do the pool, and hey, look at that key card. Doesn't matter. Here I get lucky again. The kitchen has the right door set up, and it gives steps. And then the dark room, which has a door exactly where I need it. A lucky set of drafts. There's no need to re-roll. Here in the dark room, I do the happy Kermit. The yay! Because with my step count, I now know that I basically have this in the bag. I'm going to speed this up even more here because really it's just mechanics and doing it. Like I said, this was above 50 runs. I honestly lost track. When I finally got the achievement, it closed out my 100% and, it was cool, but it wasn't very fun to get this. The gap between the knowledge you need to make this happen and actually making happen is very big, and that gap is caused by the random nature of the game. I know a lot of people have feelings on their decision to have random spawns in a puzzle game. I think in some ways it's great, but I also think that when you have a goal so specific and very focused like this one here, it very much becomes about the random rolls. Other things, I think this run took me about 35 minutes, but like I said, I walked away from the computer a lot. You could definitely do it faster, and people have. I really like the music in the game. I think it sets a great tone. And this ending track that grows as you get to room 46 is real cool. And here we are. I open the door, and I'm like, no thanks, I've seen this shit already. So that's the Day 1 Achievement Guide. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please do the like or subscribe thing. It's a big help for the channel. If you have any questions or if I missed something, drop that in the comments. And most importantly, thank you for watching and supporting the channel.